Canada is being pulled apart in real time, folks, and today you're about to see the proof with your own eyes. From gang members cutting ankle monitors and fleeing the country, to foreign corporations draining our economy, to government-backed programs handing out benefits most Canadians will never touch. This video exposes the mess the politicians keep pretending isn't happening. If you're tired of getting fed nonsense, smash that like button, subscribe to Mac's Opinion, and buckle up. Let's drag some truth into daylight. Bandhuman Sikhan, an alleged member of the Bishnoi gang, was in Canada on a work visa. Arrested in December 2024 and was released on bail after facing gun and multiple extortion charges and accused of shooting up a Surrey cafe multiple times. He was released with an ankle monitor, cut it off, and fled the country. He was arrested in India for his role in the shooting at Kapil Sharma's restaurant in Surrey. How does someone who is not a Canadian citizen and a known gang member involved in organized crime get released with such serious charges? Canadians demand answers. Here he is in this social media footage with his friends shooting their weapons. Let it sink in, and let it be absolutely clear. Sikhan was in Canada on a work visa, accused of shooting up a Surrey cafe multiple times, then was able to leave Canada, thankfully to end up getting arrested in India. Here he is, cutting off his ankle monitor, presumably before fleeing Canada. Canadians need to be demanding answers to why a known gang member with a criminal history, including charges for multiple shootings and extortions and possibly connected to unaliving people, was granted bail. So it turns out Tim Hortons has been lobbying the government for 18 months for more temporary foreign workers. When you thought the government was finally getting a handle on this and making progress on this issue, it looks like Tim Hortons wants to keep importing cheap labor and not paying Canadians fair wages. And my one issue with CBC's reporting on this is that they refer right off the top to Tim Hortons as a Canadian company. It is not a Canadian company anymore. It's a Brazilian company. And you know, we should discuss whether the temporary foreign worker program is needed or not. Me? I think it needs to be thrown into the Liberals' inferno of a dumpster fire. I think overall we should all be able to agree that foreign companies should not be able to use it. Because when foreign companies come to Canada, that means the profits are leaving Canada. We used to be able to say, hey, at least they're hiring people, so they're paying wages to Canadians, so it's still a benefit. But now we have foreign companies coming in, the profits leaving the country, and then they're bringing in foreign workers, and they're getting the wages. So Canadians aren't seeing that benefit at all. So you know how I feel personally, but I'll say it again. I think this program should be abolished entirely. But if there is a need, then carve out a separate stream for agriculture and temporary positions. Otherwise, it should be gotten rid of entirely. If you don't want to do that, you should also support an amendment that foreign companies should not be able to use the temporary foreign worker program, only local companies. Makes sense, doesn't it? So Tim Hortons, McDonald's, Subway, all these foreign companies should not be able to bring in foreign workers and have LMIA hires, because then, you know, Canadian tax dollars aren't going out of Canada. And again, I highly recommend everyone check out this website, lmiamap.org. You can zoom into your city and find which companies are using temporary foreign workers and how many they've been approved to bring over. Now, a lot of them are hiding behind numbered companies. In my city, I've seen A&W, Subway, pretty much all the franchises hiding behind these numbered companies. But if you really care, you can do some sleuthing. If you Google the numbered company, sometimes you'll find job postings for it or business registrations, so you can find out who's actually behind it. In my personal opinion, if you're a company that can't pay a Canadian a livable wage in Canada and feel the need to undercut them by hiring a foreign worker, then you shouldn't even be in business. Or you're a corporation with way too many franchise outlets. Is it time to start boycotting companies that are utilizing the temporary foreign worker program and not paying Canadians proper wages? What do you think? Let me know in the comments. And speaking of scamming Canadians' tax dollars, instead of investing money back into the Canadian economy, which gave him an opportunity, Harjeet S. Kelsey teaches non-Canadians how to collect the Canadian Pension Plan, CPP, while living in India. The part where he says, "Stop leaving your hard-earned money behind," made me break a record of some sort for biggest eye roll while exclaiming, "You mean stolen money?" Anyone holding dual citizenship should be disqualified from the CPP, particularly if they reside outside of Canada. Full stop. For those saying, well, they paid into it, they deserve it. Yes, they deserve it. But only if they remain in Canada, because Canada will provide them while they're still living in Canada. But to be honest, I doubt most of them have even been in Canada long enough to earn a CPP. Yikes.
Even if you are moving back to India, you are still eligible for CPP. The money we contribute in CPP does not disappear. Even if you leave Canada, it is simply stored under your SIN number. Once you hit 60, you can apply for CPP. And the fun part is, the money will directly come in your Indian bank account. Do not leave your hard-earned money. And if you have any questions regarding CPP, feel free to contact me. I can help you with that.
Okay, I need Canadians to hear this. What you are seeing right now is not your imagination. There is a divide growing in this country, and it is not coming from the people. It is coming from the federal government. Refugee claimants are considered residents of Canada for the purpose of federal benefits the moment that they receive their temporary documents. That status unlocks multiple federal programs as long as they meet the income criteria. Even if they've never worked here, they've never paid into our system, and they have only been in Canada for days or weeks. In Canada, the Resettlement Assistance Program covers almost every living expense for newcomers. Furniture, linens, household needs, transportation, support, dietary allowances, clothing allowances, newborn allowances, maternity clothing and benefits, school allowances, the maximum child tax benefit, monthly income supports, housing top-ups, and even startup payments in the thousands, over $8,000. They also receive interim federal health coverage, which includes healthcare, vision, and dental. And today I learned that they also qualify for the Canadian Dental Care Plan as well. So they're getting double coverage for dental. Go have a look at the government website for yourself so that you can see it for yourself. My mind is honestly blown. Meanwhile, Canadian families are paying higher taxes, higher food prices, higher rent, and higher bills, and being told to tighten their belts. And programs for our own veterans continue to be cut. This is our Liberal government. They continue stretching Canadians thinner while expanding programs that Canadians themselves cannot even access. They created the rules, they've created this gap, and they are responsible for this resentment. And now they turn around and say that the public is the problem, that raising concerns is somehow hatred or a phobia, and now they're going to censor our speech left, right, and center. So no, the problem is a system that gives full support to one group while telling the people who built this country that they should be grateful for scraps. The divide is not natural. It is not accidental. It is engineered. They continue draining working Canadians while sending hundreds of millions overseas. Over $250 million more were announced today alone. The moment that more Canadians start looking at the numbers for themselves, my hope is that the conversation changes fast. The government is supposed to work for us, not the other way around, but they're not listening to us. When will our leaders finally pause, look at the strain happening here at home, and put Canadians first so that they can stabilize this country? These idiots again. The Toronto police provide a personal escort and protection for radical terrorists sympathizers to protest across the street from a Jewish senior citizens' home that houses multiple Holocaust survivors. I can only imagine how these police officers feel having to babysit these annoying garbage people. Just having to be stuck doing their job with orders coming down from their police chief and Olivia Chow. Sure, some probably live for this shit, but there are probably a lot who didn't sign up for it either and need their jobs.
Governments around the world that enable this to happen. This is the third intifada. This intifada has been globalized, and the world collectively is shaking off chains of the violence.
Here we have viral Palestinian protester Dina Salim again, but this time being arrested at Bathurst and Shepherd for alleged assault against activist Salman Sima.
I just want zero force, zero physical force. Zero physical force, that's all I'm asking for. I don't know. I'm glad those are watching. See that? Love you, Dad! Love you, Baba! Love you, Dad!
And in keeping with Canada's tradition of shitty and weak laws that protect these idiots, the police processed Dina Salim quickly after her arrest for allegedly assaulting Salman Sima. When asked how she got out so fast, she laughs.
I'm used to it, I'm Palestinian.
And drives off, waving her keffiyeh out the sunroof.
Hey, Palestine! Thank you, Lee!
How did you get back so fast?
Thank you, Lee! I'm used to it, I'm Palestinian!
An Indian man, Wajahat Ali, publicly states, "Whites, your mistake is that you let us in. We are breeding people. Your culture sucks. You already lost." But do you remember when they told us that the Great Replacement was a racist conspiracy theory? Now they've officially moved to the "actually, it's real and it's good" stage. This is how it always works. This is what the invading third world hordes think of us. They mock us. They despise our hospitality. They exploit our generosity. Are you paying attention yet?
You have lost. You lost. The mistake that you made is you let us in the first place. See, that's the thing with brown people. And I'm going to say this as a brown person. There's a lot of us. Like a lot. There's like 1.2 billion in India. There's more than 200 million in Pakistan. There's like 170 million in Bangladesh. Those are just the people there. I'm even talking about the folks who are expats or immigrants. There's a bunch of us. And we breed. We're a breeding people. And the problem is you let us in 1965. There were a few of us beforehand, but once you let one of us in, you know what happens with brown folks? Our grandmother comes, our grandfather comes, our uncle comes, our aunt comes, our cousin comes, our second cousin comes, our third cousin comes. Then we have kids, a bunch of kids. And then guess what? Some white women, you know, the Western civilization women, the pure women, the American women, quote unquote, the Rust Belt women, the real women, they like some of us brown folks. We don't take them. They come to us. So we're embedded. We are everywhere. We are everywhere. I've traveled this country. I'm going to speak as a brown person. Brown people are everywhere. There will be a Patel motel or there will be a Desi restaurant everywhere. I want you to realize this. You have lost. Your story is a shitty story filled with misery. It's filled with bland chicken. It's filled with terrible, terrible dry-ass meat. Your music sucks. All your culture sucks. That's why the kids like listen to black people and their music. That's why the kids love Latinos. Your parties suck because they're monochromatic. Our parties have better food, better music, better looking women.
A man, Adam Labukan, who committed violent crimes against children, including rape and unaliving a child, was moved to a women's prison in Canada after identifying as a woman and receiving taxpayer-funded breast implants. This prison has a unit for mothers and young children next door. When the speaker tried to discuss this and other child abuse issues with government officials, including the Minister of Education, he was shut down and labeled as making people feel unsafe. Grace Lohr, who is now the Minister of Children and Family Development, responded to the speaker's online posts by stating she stands with the transgender community. I mean, at this point, nothing truly surprises me anymore. The whole legal system and the circus we call the government is a complete joke.
If your kids are watching, maybe pause this for a moment. This man raped a 3-month-old who required reconstructive surgery, and he drowned a 3-year-old. And he was still a teenager when this happened, but he was put in prison. Then while in prison, the British Columbia government paid for him to get breast implants. And because he's now identifying as a woman, they transferred him into the Fraser Valley Penitentiary for Women. And in our female prisons in Canada, there are units with moms with their small children. Up to a certain age, they can have their kids with them. So they have this separate unit. This man was placed right next door to that unit. And while he's been there, he has, of course, assaulted a woman.
Is he still there?
Yeah. So I went to Victoria, the capital, to meet with the Minister of Education about this. He wouldn't meet with me. If I just say I'm going to go, we'll see what happens. I went to meet him. He wouldn't meet. I actually walked into his campaign headquarters. I stumbled upon it. There were all these new Democratic Party members. It's called the NDP. They're far left party, and they are our ruling party in BC. And I talked to this woman at the desk. Her name's Grace Lohr. I didn't know who she was. I just walked in and started telling her all about this child use of child transition, all about puberty blockers, everything. And for about 10 minutes, everyone in this building fell quiet, and they listened to me basically give this 10-minute speech to this woman listening to me at the desk. I told her all about the child, and then I got to this women in prison story, and I told her about this man. His name's Adam Labukin. I told her exactly what I just told you. And when I was telling that story, another politician shut me down. She said I was making them feel unsafe. And I was telling this story as calm as can be, like I always do. But that made them feel unsafe. 3 times I was told that, and they kicked me out.
This was your elected official.
Yes. I came back the next morning to try to meet with the Minister of Education again. They locked me out. I have subsequently told this story online in great detail. Grace Lohr, that woman I was speaking to, who became the Minister of Children and Family Development. What I didn't know at the time I first spoke with her, she was a former gender studies professor at the University of Victoria. So when I told this story on Twitter and I tagged her, she responded, proudly stating simply, I stand with the transgender community.
Canadian veteran Kelsey Sharon found a large FOIA, Freedom of Information Act document revealing disturbing information about MAID, Medical Assistance in Divine BS Afterlife, in Canada. Dr. Ellen Wiebe was allegedly at the head of forced the MAID department transfers during coughing-only video in dimes plandemic. Sorry about the use of specific words because YouTube hates specific words. Apparently coming from Canadian content. The FOIA indicates a former provincial official requested the Minister of British Columbia to meet with Dr. Wiebe to discuss MAID access in faith-based organizations, despite the initial understanding that religious organizations would be exempt. The speaker also found evidence that someone named Zach was altering the MAID policy verbiage. Additionally, Dying with Dignity is implicated in coercing faith-based hospices to provide MAID. Sharon claims to have proof that the Canadian government has been illegally providing municipal coverage for MAID to non-residents and non-citizens.
I don't know if anybody's ready to hear what I just found in this FOIA document. It is insane. A little more than insane. It's actually grotesque. It's disgusting. We're going to give everyone a few minutes to jump on. Yeah, this is not good. I just found one of the largest FOIA documents that's ever been leaked to me, which is public, so I can say this out loud, but somebody last night had sent me a FOIA document, okay? Please, if you're here, just stick with me for a minute. They had sent me a FOIA document where we were able to take a look at MAID numbers. We're like, okay, cool, whatever. Everyone knows MAID numbers. We know how bad it is. Yeah, this is worse. Holy shit. I'm reading something right now that's kind of dumbfounding me. Have you guys ever heard of forced transfers for MAID? Yeah, me either. Fun fact, according to this FOIA document, Dr. Ellen Wiebe was at the head of, during COVID, forced transfers for MAID. This is the doctor you guys have heard me talk about. I say doctor incredibly loose. This is the doctor you guys heard me talk about on trigonometry and on Jordan Peterson. This is the person in Vancouver who's been killing people, really got multiple criminal investigations. Holy fucking shit. Sorry to swear. I know you guys hate that, but just go with me on this. I just found not only did I find numbers, I found that they were putting in legislation for forced MAID transfers during COVID. There's a whole bunch of hurt here. Here's what else is crazy. In this FOIA, it's redacted the name. A specific former provincial blank has met with Hospice Services, HSB, and requested that the Minister of British Columbia meet with Dr. Ellen Wiebe to discuss access to MAID in faith-based organizations in British Columbia. Now, why is that crazy? Because this was supposed to never touch religion. Any religious organization or affiliation was supposed to be safe. Ellen Wiebe specifically is named in this FOIA. Let me see if I can show it to you. Right here. This is insane. We now have proof that Ellen Wiebe... Well, no, I'm sorry, dude. There's no waiting periods. We shouldn't be doing any of this ever. Ellen Wiebe single-handedly went after faith-based organizations in this province to get them to start killing. When we start looking more at this, you can see very clearly that Ellen Wiebe, this is what's crazy about these numbers, okay, guys? References, like yada, yada, blah, 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 blah. Let me pull it up for you. They start toying via email. Ready for this? This one was nuts to me. It's a lot to digest, but just go with me, okay? Guys, just go with me on this. I promise you it's worth it. Whoever Zach is, this guy needs to be investigated. He has gone through the MAID policy during this time frame, and he legitimately started making sure verbiage was changed immediately. Okay, so in January, they referenced faith-based contracts, but they made sure that things were added and changed, whether it was terms, whether it was MAID standards, all of this. This person has talked about adding non-participating definitions to limit confusion. So during COVID, Ellen Wiebe was participating. Let me pull it up so you guys can see, because I know you guys love to say I don't have receipts. Not all of you, but trust me. Check this shit out. I'm not even kidding. I'm going to put this on my page after because I'm so blown away right now. Forced and chosen transfers for MAID before, during the pandemic, Ellen Wiebe. This is legitimately one of the craziest things we have found. This is available in the death studies. Here, right here is your link to the article. You guys can read it yourself. The date below, February 2021. Here's what I'll say, guys. Lots to go through. If you guys do not see this, we have some real reality checks coming here. I don't know if you guys are reading some of this. Holy shit. This is terrifying. This email is terrifying. Frankly, I'm just kind of at the point where there's more. I didn't even scroll. But I have something else. Are you guys ready for this? Remember how I told you that dying with dignity was evil? It's so much worse. Dying with dignity on page 212 proves that dying with dignity is single-handedly behind the faith-based hospice coercion into providing MAID. Let me just flip it to you. Let me make sure this guy's name's not here and email address is not available. Okay, let's pull back. Check this out. Holy shit. Guys, I just found the mother lode. Oh my God. This is insane.
If this fired you up, good. That means you're awake. Canada needs people who refuse to stay silent while this chaos spreads. Hit that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe to Mac's Opinion to help push this truth into every corner of this country. We're not stopping. See you in the next one. Cheers!